Brodes Media.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was rough. Oh my God, was that a painful experience. I'll tell you what's the complete opposite, though, of a painful experience. Going to TickPick and getting yourself cheap tickets to a Sixers game, to a Flyers game, or any local team if you're not from the Philadelphia area. And you're sitting so close. You're right there at the court. You're right there on the glass. And I'm not talking about all the way up at the top and spending $106. We're talking $34. We're talking $33. We're talking $37. So there's no excuses. I don't want to hear that ticket prices are too expensive. It's because you're not utilizing TickPick. That's why it's too expensive. It's the holiday season. Make sure you get yourself to a game with a loved one, a family member, friends, whoever it is in your life. Take them to a game. Go to TickPick. Get great prices. And not only that, I'm handing you a $10 bill by utilizing the code BRODES10 at checkout. No excuses. Go to TickPick today. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. They're dead. This season is done. The collapse is so inevitable, it's not even funny. You could see it in their eyes. You could see it in their body language. They don't believe in Nick Sirianni and Kevin Petullo. They are all aware that these two are bogus, and they have no fucking idea how to do anything. This offense is inept. We had conversations about them being risk averse, and if that's sustainable. There's a difference between being risk adverse and not wanting to put the ball in harm's way at times and straight up fucking shit. This offense is fucking shit. Now, are there a couple of throws that Jalen would like to have back? Without a doubt. I thought Jalen played poorly. But it begins, before we even get to player execution, it begins and starts with what is the foundation like? What is the structure like? Is this something where the coaches offensively are putting the players in position to succeed? No! 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 They are brain dead. Kevin Petullo is a nightmare. And Nick Sirianni is just a mirror image of KP. They're the same guy. They are so lost. And I said all week long, the game against the Bears will tell me everything I need to know about who this group is. Because when you have a disaster in Dallas, so pathetic like that, it's about your response to getting knocked down that matters. Their response was they just got mollywopped. Listen, that was a game where I don't even care or know what the final score was. That was the first time you allowed that many rushing. 1973! Their offensive line pushed everybody on the defensive front around. And there is a soft spot for me knowing that the defense has carried you for a little bit now. And I think what happened is, at some point, the defense understood, holy hell, we have to do everything! And when your offense is going 3 and out, penalty, 3 and out, penalty, 3 and out. And the Bears are running a billion plays. You just go, I don't know what to tell you. Like, to me, defensively, I felt at some point, they just went, I don't know what to tell you. We're leaking oil, and we can't survive this. Now, it doesn't give them all a free pass, all right? I do think the Bears out-physicaled them. I thought Vic Fangio was going to be an advantage against Ben Johnson and against Caleb Williams, but I'll tell you what, this is how important scheme is. They created whatever they wanted. They had lanes and they had all these matchups and they used pre-snap movement and they used motion to get leverage. Our head coach not too long ago stated, pre-snap motion? I don't just use pre-snap motion just to use pre-snap motion. I don't just do that to make it look sexy. Come on, man. Implying that all these other elite coaches, Shanahan, McVay, now what you're seeing in Chicago, they just do it to do it because it's fun to look at. Not that there's real value to it. Nick doesn't believe there's value to it. Oh my God. Oh my God. You got to be fired. If I'm Jeffrey Lurie and I hear my head coach say that, someone who's supposed to be on the offensive side of the ball, if I hear that, you go home. You go home. You never get paid again either. I'd go to court and say this guy is dumb. He doesn't deserve the rest of his paycheck. And you got to find a loophole in the contract. He's abysmal. When it comes to offensive scheme, he doesn't know what he's doing. He provides zero value there. Listen to what Jason Avant had to say after the game was over. This was on NBC Sports Philadelphia on the Eagles postgame show. Listen to the way he described how awesome and how electric that Bears offense is and how efficient they are.
Well, it wasn't just that they were able to defeat us with physicality. It was with scheme. They were putting guys in motion. Guys were going back across the line of scrimmage, going opposite of each other. It seemed like the defensive ends didn't know that they were going left or right or whatever. And so it kept them honest the entire game with how many reverses, jet sweeps, so many things that they were doing. It kept them honest. And now there was huge lanes through the middle, and the double teams were working. They didn't have an answer for duo. Duo was 2 double teams. They were doing it pretty much the entire game. And, you know, talk about Monungai knocking guys out. Like, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Ruben, this is the most rushing yards against the Eagles since when?
Most rushing yards against the Eagles since 1973.
1973.
Yeah, and the most in Philadelphia since 1962. You can't call yourself a championship team and give up almost 300 rushing yards.
But you hear, it's not just the physicality, right? And I think, believe it or not, that actually gets married together. Meaning, when you believe in what you're being told, they believe in Ben Johnson. They say, yo, this cat's different. Yo, the way this dude's got Caleb playing this year, not perfect, right? He's not the greatest quarterback to ever live, but holy hell, look at how they function. Holy hell, what do you know? Things are open. What do you know? They have things available nonstop. Caleb Williams. Because the coach is putting his players in the position to have success. And they believe in it. And when you believe in it, that will and that determination and that real physicality and that we're going to go in there because we believe we can fucking kill the Eagles, it's all married together to belief in the top guy. I don't think they believe in the top guy. And I don't believe they believe in the second in command of the top guy on the offensive side of the ball. They've been around Shane Steichen. They've been around Kellen Moore. They know what works. They've been around NFL football. They know what works. They know what doesn't work. I mean, I've heard Chris Long on his podcast say, Kevin Petula, I don't know if this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. That's what he said. Quote, I don't know if he knows what the fuck he's doing. I heard from Nick Foles say Kevin Petula could be a good guy, but there's an art to the play calling, and I don't know if he has it, which is a very nice way to put it. And I heard, who else was it? Greg Cassell mentioned that this offense is so elementary, it's not even funny, and all of it just doesn't make any sense. Who does that fall on? So when we talk about Jalen having a bad game, like, for example, I think that interception he threw to A.J. Brown is a product of this is so gnarly and so bad and so disgusting that I'm throwing this football. Now, the fumble, different story. That happened at a crucial time. You thought after the Jalix Hunt interception that there could be some life and some juice and whatnot, and that was bad. That was flat out bad. I think Jalen was bad. I think Jalen missed a couple of throws. The Smitty one, there is obviously another throw where I thought Smitty had the defensive pass interference call not called on him, but the throw was a little behind him. Still should have generated a flag, but he wasn't good by any means. But you're also asking him to excel at a scheme that is fundamentally flawed to its core. So what are we asking here? Someone to make a gourmet meal and a 5-star meal, a 5-course meal out of legitimately going to the Dunkin' Donuts trash bin at 11:59 p.m. when they throw out all the old donuts? And we say, hey, you got to be perfect in this. Were there a couple of plays where the meat's left on the bone? For sure. For sure. But this whole player execution thing, I think you're missing the point. When you get stability, when you get structure, when there's a foundation that you can really believe in and that actually generates success and matchups and gives you an advantage, then you see the player execution actually improve. It's a domino effect. If you had Andy Reid and guys of that nature, Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and guys that kind of have a lot more pop to their name and to their game and to their strategy, then you're going to see that on the field. Nick Sirianni's never been that, and Kevin Patullo is his choice. And it's to the point now where Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie have to do something that's uncomfortable and desperate. The whole narrative that you can't bring in Brian Dable, you can't bring in this guy, you can't bring in that guy because it's too late. Too late. What's the alternative? You ready to bang your head against the wall against the Chargers on Monday Night Football? Dude, the way everybody was talking about the link and how they were buzzing before, they were saying that the atmosphere is Black Friday, 3 o'clock. It would be shocking if the crowd wasn't so behind the Eagles that it gives them a push that they haven't even been prepared for. In fact, it couldn't have been farther from the truth where I'm sitting there cheering on the same guy that got caught on the broadcast with the fucking handlebars with the thumbs down. Boo! Boo! You fucking suck! Fire KP! I wish they gave it to him harder. But it could have been more opposite. Oh, my God. You know what I'm going to need after this? One of my Emilios. Let me tell you something. You know I am in love with my Emilios. I sit out back. I light one up. It's just glorious. What if I told you, normally you get 10% off your cigars by utilizing promo code Brodes10 at Emilio Cigars, and all that information is provided for you below? What if I told you, thanks to the holiday season, until Tuesday, you have until Tuesday, you get 20% off, double! You're very welcome. Truth be told, they reached out to me and said, Brodes, we love your Sports Talk with Brodes community. We love your Brodes media family. They've been so damn supportive. We've received a lot of messages, and people have really enjoyed them. And I said, well, no, duh. I mean, I've been telling you since day one, these things are magical and the greatest cigar to ever touch my lips, but I digress. They want to give you an opportunity to get that special someone in your life. The only cigar to smoke on planet Earth. Old school roots, new school attitude, locally owned, made at Fabrica Oveja Negra, Nicaragua. The code is THANKS20. All capitals. THANKS20. You get 20% off. Don't be a fool. Join the Emilio Cigar family today. So here's something interesting for you. 28th in the NFL in offensive success rate. That's the worst offense in 20 years. 28th in the NFL in offensive success rate. Wait, what? Hold on. That's weird, worded weird. Let me read you this one. This is a lot cleaner. This is from Sheil Kapadia. The Bears defense entered today's game ranked 29th in success rate. This was the worst performance by any offense against them all season long. Do you realize how bad the Bears defense is? And they're playing on linebacker 75,000, and you can't generate a lick of production against them. Nothing! You were straight up flatlined. How does this happen? It starts with being inept. This thing is so broken down to the core, it's not even funny. There's a difference between having a Super Bowl hangover, being a little bit depleted here, being a little bit depleted there, and straight up, none of this does anything. And you know what? Before you start ripping the offensive line and saying you can't generate anything because they are just so bad and they are so hurt and they are so injured and they are not playing at a level that allows for you to operate. Wrong! Wrong again! You're wrong again! We have a standard here. The standard is elite offensive line play. And we've seen them. We've had the luxury for years of watching dominant top 3, if not top 1, of 5 big men mauling human beings. Listen to what Sheil Kapadia had to say on the WIP morning show about this O-line, okay? It's not as bad as it feels from a big picture standpoint. You should be able to get more production with it. You should be able to get more things established with it. It's league average, and maybe at times even a bit above average. So sure, we live in a world where we expect 0 flaws. They're not 0 flaws, but it's not so bad that you can't do anything. Where was Tank Bigsby, by the way? The Bears are awful. They can't stop the run defensively. We have a guy who averages 8-9 yards per carry, and they flipped you the double bird. They said, you're calling for more attack. That's malpractice. You have a guy who can do it efficiently, and you said, go sit your ass on the bench. I want nothing to do with you. Malpractice. Here's what Sheil Kapadia had to say.
This offense does not look good.
So, Sheil, on the offensive line, when you break down the film, how much have Dickerson, Mulata, Juergens related to injury or otherwise? How much have they taken a step back compared to last year?
I thought this last game was maybe the worst the offensive line has played all season long. I was pretty concerned watching them against Dallas. Yeah, I do think it's a step back, and I was trying to think of the last time, an Eagles offensive. I don't think an Eagles offensive line during the Sirianni-Hurts era has had the struggles that this group is having right now. And most weeks it's more in the run game than the pass game. I thought last week it was in the pass game as well. Of course, you got Fred Johnson out there at right tackle. So, yeah, it's just not nearly I wouldn't tell you it's like a bad group if you're looking league-wide. Hey, no, I don't think so. I think it would be more mediocre, and there are weeks where it's above average. But overall, compared to the standard that we've seen for these teams, it is quite different.
That's damning to me. So we watch it with a very weird and unique eye because we've seen Mekhi Becton at right guard, and we've seen Jason Kelsey for years, and we've seen Jason Peters in his prime, and we've watched Lane Johnson prior to this year, and we've seen it all, man. We saw Brandon Brooks in there at right guard. We've seen excellence. That's not this. And there's been times where it's been rough. But when you look at the league, if you're getting average offensive line play, let's say you're getting average O-line play throughout these 13 weeks, however deep, what are they now, 8-4, 12, with 13, they had to buy 13 weeks, then you can't be 29, 29, 30th, 28th in the league type stuff. Maybe be 15. Be league average then. If you have league average O-line play, be league average offensively, especially when you're not turning the football over. Normally, this game it's been rough. Last few games it's been rough. But over the long haul, you don't turn the rock over. You have mediocre offensive line. You gotta be better. But there's no designs that actually flow off one another. I could go on and on with so many different media clips. I could. Here's Greg Cassell on why it's such a struggle, or trying to figure out why it's such a struggle, but what he sees on tape. This was on the Ross Tucker pod.
It's such a struggle, Ross, and I just don't know. Sometimes I feel awkward talking about it because the question I have is why. And I don't know the why part of it, but when I watch their offense, and I'm not the only one who sees it, obviously, it's very elementary with its concepts. There's no motion or very little. You don't see stacks, you don't see bunches, you don't see route concepts and combinations where 2 or 3 receivers are running routes that complement one another.
What are we doing here? And then you got boneheads saying Jalen Hurts blows. There's nothing that adds up. There's no flavor. And you know what? I'm not even talking about flavor right now. Forget flavor. That just seems fundamental, doesn't it? Devontae's going to do this because it opens up that. AJ's going to do this because it opens up that. We're going to run this because it opens up that. That is literally basic information. That is show baseline of just standard practice of drawing up plays. That you go on your little whatever you draw this on, whatever, maybe it's just a flat out piece of paper. All right, they sit down in a meeting room as an offensive unit and they start designing plays and concepts. Rule number 1 would be everything has to have a purpose. Everything has to have an idea behind it. There needs to be concepts and they need to be married together. Do you know what it looks like to me? They think AJ's so good, just go beat anybody. Just go beat anybody. Just go win, dude. Just go win. And then Jalen's got to chuck up a ball and AJ's got to manhandle 2 people. They have one play that I like, and it's that little throw to Dallas Goedert in the flat. That's the only play that I think is actually interesting. I got one play. Everything else, you just chuck it. Again, does that mean that there isn't a throw where Devontae's open on a slant and Jalen? Yes. Yes, there's a throw that he missed. And guess what? When there's competent offensive structures, there's throws that quarterbacks miss with that too. But right now, the margin for error is so insane because you are asking these guys to... This is the NFL. This is the National Football League. These defensive coordinators literally stay up 24 hours a day to study every little movement that you do. And you are so bland and you are so basic and you are so, you know what? I think it's actually so bad that they may even be baffled on how bad it is. They can't even comprehend. They go, oh my God, I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep tonight. I'm going to get 10 hours of sleep. I don't even need to waste my time. They might get to that point where it's so laughable and it's so terrible that these defensive coordinators need an hour, maybe 2 hours. They see and they go, oh, we're golden, boys. They do a little secret handshake on their way out of their version of the NovaCare complex. They go, dude, I'm having sex tonight. I got time to go home and I'm going to bang my wife. I'm going to have sex with my wife. I haven't had time to do that all football season. I'm going to have some fun. Put the kids down. Make sure I kick the dogs out so they don't lick my toes. And I'm about to go have some fun and smash. I mean, that's to the point that this offense is. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. I mean, again, the audio clips can go on and on and on and on. Here's what Richard Sherman had to say about Kevin Petula, which, by the way, after the game, Nick Sirianni stated he's not changing the play caller. He said if he thought Kevin Petula was the issue, he'd make the change. He doesn't think that's the problem. That's because you're stupid. That's because you are literally dumb. And I don't care what you say, Nick Sirianni. Wait till Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman step in. And if they don't step in, shame on them. You need to do what you did in 23, which ultimately did end up collapsing, but it's going to collapse if you go down this path too. You got to do something different. And I don't even think it's Nick, by the way. I don't want Nick to call plays. And I don't know if you have anybody else on the staff that can. I think Reuben Frank mentioned one other guy. I'd be lying if I told you I'm super familiar with some of the names when we get to that level of guys, but I don't care. I'm open to anything. And I think Nick Sirianni not Jalen. No, Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie need to make the executive decision. We have reached that point of failure. Here's Richard Sherman on the broadcast.
The halftime speech I'm giving on defense is you got to man up, you got to stand up. You got to, hey, this is a grown man game and we're just getting manhandled. We got to change that. Offensively, you got to find something else. You got to put your glasses on, Sirianni, and maybe get your wand out and find you a new offensive coordinator because right now, Kevin Petula does not have the answers. He's shown incompetency over the last couple of games. We got to change that, baby. You need a little Wingardium Leviosa.
We've seen incompetence. Again, difference between being bad, being raw, being maybe a little misguided, right? You can make mistakes as a first-time play caller. That's just real life, right? I'm not asking this guy to be perfect, although when you win a Super Bowl and you try to go back-to-back, you should be putting your team in a better position with someone who's a little bit more polished, okay? But if you do go this route, I'm aware that there's going to be learning curves and learning moments. Fully understand that. There's a difference between that and straight up incompetence. For example, there are people yelling at Nick Sirianni for the 2-point conversion thing at the end. Look, that's a debatable football tactic when you go for 2 based off the score. Do you do it early? Do you wait? Does that apply pressure on the other team? Blah, 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 blah. We can have those debates, and I think that's fair football discussion. But that's one of those that would fall in the category of we can debate that and feel a certain type of way. What's right? What's wrong? What should you do? Blah, blah, blah. But that's not incompetent. That's just he decided to do something. Both make sense to me. You want to kick the extra point? Okay, I get it. You want to go for 2 there? Okay, I get it. I think I understand both from a logical standpoint. It's just which one do you prefer? That's not inept. That's not incompetence. That's just, hey, I disagree, but there's an understanding to why they did what they did. And there could be times where things fail, things don't work, and maybe even when there is a time of, listen, they tried to get too cute or they wanted to incorporate this, it just didn't have the success rate and blah, 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 blah. It's not inept, it's just trying things out and it's part of the learning curve and this and that. And like there are times where it can fall in that category and I could subscribe to it a little more. This is just, it's not that. This is seriously, we have to strip it down to the core and figure out why this thing is operating like it's elementary school football. And as much as you want to say Jalen Hurts is blank, Jalen Hurts is horrible, put in Tanner McKee, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. This is a byproduct of organizational malpractice by the offensive structure. Jalen Hurts is unique, is one of one, is interesting. And there are things that you must do to maximize his skill set. And when you do that, you can win a Super Bowl. Right? And now, so I heard Herb Street today mention that they don't run the ball enough with him. I've listened to Chris Collinsworth say they don't run the ball enough with him. I've heard Tom Brady now say they don't run the football enough with him. This is his strength. That's what he does that puts you at an advantage. That's what he utilizes to make the defense second guess. If you hesitate for 0.1 second, especially against a linebacker core that's on their 4th, 5th strings, then that extra hesitation allows Saquon Barkley maybe to get the ball and get a free chance to gain 40, 35, something along those lines to break free. Right? Because you have to wonder if Jalen's going to keep it or not. You don't have to really wonder that. Maybe you got that one today. Right? 1 or 2. It's just not enough. And now that's 3 color commentators in a row that has pointed that out, the difference in success last year to this year. He's got a unique skill set. When you maximize that unique skill set, the ceiling is the end goal. They're not doing what's best to put this offense in the driver's seat. They're not. And that's where it begins. That's where it begins. When you do what's right for all of these guys on your roster and with the personnel, to get creative, to lean into what they do well, to scheme them open, to keep the defense guessing, when all that's happening, you're talking about a stellar, stellar team. And they are the farthest thing from it. And it's just unbelievable. I'll tell you what else is unbelievable, though. My friends over at DraftKings. All your favorite NBA players are back. And DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. New customers bet just $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass. Plus, score $300 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BRODES. That's code BRODES. Bet $5 and get 3 months of League Pass, plus $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boudreaux Casino and Resort. Pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass auto renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co. radio/audio. This is a limited time offer. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you're hearing words like manhandled, you can't get manhandled after a loss like that in Dallas. You just can't. When you get manhandled, that means you rolled over and died. And you're not believing in what's happening here, and the collapse is inevitable. That's just the truth. Let's take a couple of anytime hotline calls. Let's do it.
Hey, Brodes. Will from West Virginia. I hope you know I don't enjoy calling for Nick Sirianni's job. And at the end of the day, I'd be okay if they brought him back just without letting him pick his offensive and defensive coordinators. But, man, we as Phillies fans have called for Rob Thompson's job for way less egregious managing than what Nick Sirianni did in 2023 and has done this year. I mean, at some point, Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman need to at least let him know that, hey, you know, you're on the hot seat. Again, I'd be comfortable just never, ever letting him pick an offensive coordinator ever again because Kevin Patullo blows chunks.
Big time. Oh, he's awful. I think he's actually worse than Brian Johnson. I mean that. I think he's worse than Brian Johnson. And no, listen, I'm with you on the Sirianni thing. And I told you last episode. So if you didn't hear, I did a show in the middle of the week, just taking all your calls. And Will was pretty disappointed about Sirianni. And he said he called in drunk once and said he's got to be out of here and this and that. And he feels a certain type of way about Nick. And I said, I'm not there yet. Well, listen, I don't think it's going to. If they have a monster collapse though, where they lose their next X amount of straight, then by all means, two collapses of that nature, that doesn't happen by accident. So I'd be open to the conversation if it gets to that tier of ugliness. And I could also see a world where he's just never allowed to pick his coordinators again. Never allowed to pick his coordinators again. Ever, 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 ever. Shut up. I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care who you think we should go with. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. No. Shut your mouth. Shut up. No. Fuck no. Absolutely fucking not. Actually, you know what I'd do? I'd ask him for 5 guys that he would like, and I would never call them. And I'd stay away from them. Here's the 5 names that Nick Sirianni wants. Thank you so much, Nick. I want you to know that I will be wiping my asshole with these 5 names. Appreciate what you've done with this list, and I will be picking your coordinator over the next few weeks. Enjoy the offseason. That's what I would do. So I don't want anything to do with him being near that decision. And if they were to go out and get the next Ben Johnsons of the world because they provide some actual effectiveness and efficiency and sexiness with the offensive side of the football, where if your coordinator gets poached, you don't lose an identity, you don't lose a DNA, and you have someone that's creative and can adapt and be up with the times of what is useful and how he can put players in certain advantages. Oh, come on, man. How do you think A.J. Brown would look in Kyle Shanahan's offense? How do you think he'd be used? How do you think they'd scheme him open? But hey, you know what? I wonder if A.J.'s happy because he is getting better numbers. They're losing consistently, but they're getting better numbers. I wonder how he's feeling. Jalen said on that Devontae Smith pass, 2 guys on different pages. Those are kind of issues we've been having. We're not detailed enough. I wasn't detailed enough. There were some debates on, did he think that Devontae was going to sit? Devontae went with the slant. Here's the thing. What is Nick Sirianni's message? Tough, detailed, together. Not detailed. Not detailed. Not detailed. So if we're at week 13 and my quarterback is, and by the way, I don't need Jalen to say this to see it, right? We had the drives where AJ false start, and what was it, Landon Dickerson with the false start. Here we go, second play of all these early drives. Now you're in 2nd and long. Now you're 3rd and long. Now you're 3rd and obnoxious. You're never going to survive. And I was laughing in pain. I mean, it sure was hysterical in a sad sense where I was fully breaking down because it's just so insane that it's this bad. It's so bad, guys. It's so bad. There's a difference between having a Super Bowl hangover and then like you suck, you know, like it's different. It's different. It's just a nightmare. It really, really is. Back to the phones.
Bro, just Joey here. Look, man, this team, we're in collapse mode now. Collapse mode. Offense is putrid. Defense couldn't stop anything. I mean, how many weeks did the defense have to come up for us to win? How many weeks is it going to take for Vic Fangio to win for us, how many weeks is it going to take? Vic Fangio's had to do it this whole entire time. The offense hasn't done shit. Zero. Zilch. Nothing. It's getting ridiculous, man. Jalen overthrowing balls. I mean, can't make a field goal. Can't do anything this whole entire game. 0-0. I don't get it. I'm lost. I'm lost for words on this game. I mean, we look awful. I mean, this team leaves me at no words. I got to enjoy this weekend now with another loss on the column for us, and the Birds just doing what the Birds do. I mean, Jalen looked awful today. So many missed throws.
He was awful. He was awful, but it's hard to judge the quarterback when I think my whole entire studio is collapsing. I just had one of my huge lights crumble to the ground. Perfectly describes this. I think it's hard for me to judge Jalen when I think everyone is quitting on the messengers, where I think everyone doesn't believe in what's going on, and when a lot of these routes and concepts put you at a disadvantage. So there may be plays that are there, but everything is so hard. They make it so hard where it's so tense and there's so much pressure on every little thing they do because the margin for error is so tiny because they're so flawed. And when that's the case, of course these guys are going to be out of sync, out of sorts. Of course things are going to be rushed and weird and bizarre and frustrating and this and that, because that's the dynamic the coaching staff is creating. That's the energy and the feel that the coach is providing based off of the incompetent offensive structure. This thing is just not an NFL offense. Nothing makes any sense. It's so dumb, it's not even funny. And when that happens, I need to fix that first before I go out of my way and say Jalen X, Y, and Z big picture. Because I do know when you play to his strengths and when you do things efficiently with an offense, Jalen is a really, really good quarterback that wins a ton. I've seen it happen a bunch. And so far, I've seen guys that are over their head and that are sinking on the sidelines. I've seen that crumble a team where he looks like he doesn't know how to play football. Is the answer that's Jalen Hurts? Jalen is just so extreme, or is it based off of the coordinator? Which, by the way, doesn't make you a bad quarterback. It's okay to say a good coordinator. Look, this is football. There's a reason why people stress how much of a team game this is. It does matter if you have a good head coach, a good offensive coordinator, a decent line, good receivers, a good defense. That's what you need. Pat Mahomes has Andy Reid. Pat Mahomes has Steve Spagnuolo. You don't think that plays any role in the success of the Chiefs having a dynasty there for a while? It's finally catching up to them. You don't think that has anything to do? Having Chris Jones, you don't think that plays a role? Of course it does. Of course it does. You don't think Bill Belichick in his prime, he's obviously lost a step now, but you don't think he had something to do with how great those defenses can be? Come on, man. Yes, you have Tom Brady, but it all works together. It's reality. That's no knock on a quarterback to say you have an offensive coordinator that puts you in a position to succeed. And we're, again, this is where we're going back to. It's not like these guys are just struggling. Like, the whole operation doesn't make much sense. Who can thrive in that type of environment forever? At some point, it will catch up to you. And I guess I was blinded by some of the things that they were doing before. And the truth is, I think I was, because when you win a Super Bowl like you did last year, Saquon Barkley was out of this world. And you won the Super Bowl because Saquon Barkley was out of this world. And I'm okay to admit that was a big portion. So I wondered, while we asked if the defense can be that elite for so long, I wonder, could the defense be out of this world? Saquon was out of this world. Was he not? Saquon was out of this world last year, carried you to a Super Bowl. Why can't the defense be this year's version of Saquon where they're out of this world and they help carry a risk-averse offense? But now I'm starting to realize this isn't just a risk-averse offense. This is a broken offense. And because of that, it's a different world. It's just a different world. So these are my instant thoughts to the disaster that was. We had a disaster in Dallas. Now it's the disaster at home. This was equivalent to Jonathan Gannon coming to your house and beating you around. When guys are throwing around the word manhandled, and this goes to Vic Fangio on the defensive side too, though, because I haven't harped on them enough. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. But what is good is my friends at Camden Apothecary. How do I say this the right way? My friend Hugh Douglas likes to call it, what's he say? The broccoli, right? I like to call it the grass. There's some things out there that look like broccoli, and it's fun. I love Camden Apothecary. Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your broccoli, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. They're only 5 minutes over the bridge. And this is where you need to go if you're a diehard Philadelphia sports fan. Just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting, and they don't just care about your convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality broccoli at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality broccoli, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. Tell them Brodes sent you, and you will get 10% off. Do not be a fool and get yourself over to Camden Apothecary. Football. Fun stuff. Just fun stuff. We'll be talking about it.